Okay, so for this Thursday, I'm just gonna sit here and I'm gonna talk about. I've been playing around more with the. What's it called? With the. I don't really want to call it a VTubing program just yet because they're not. It's not really designed for that. It accepts that. It accepts VTubing programs, but it's not like designed around that scenario. But I've been messing around with it, and it's got a lot of really fun applications, actually. But on the 15th, so on Monday, they're going to be accepting more of the like 3D avatar aspects. So right now it accepts 2D things. So what I could do is I could apply a 3D avatar to a to a 2D aspect, I guess, so it would just look like a 2D plane. And I mean, that could work, but frankly, it's not the best thing, and I was like, because shadows. Normally I'd be like, whatever, I can make it work. It's a 2D plane in a 3D space, and you can do that in Blender, actually. But just the fact that sorry. Just the fact that they are developing it, or making a development so that you can just have the 3D model in there can help a lot in terms of realism as far as like shadows go. And maybe interactions, I guess? I don't know. Those kind of sort of things are a little more difficult. Also, so for current context, I'm just doing this for kind of background scenario. But what this is Fortnite Saved the World, and it's kind of the first iteration of what they thought Fortnite was going to be. But turns out that the Battle Royale genre kicked off so much harder that Fortnite Battle Royale just became the game, and Save the World was just sort of forgotten off to the side. So recently, one of the things that I've been doing, besides just kind of delving into that that 3D, they call it a clubhouse, but like it's just kind of a 3D environment software. So that's been a lot of my time, and it has a lot of promise. But beyond that is I've been looking at Riot's new League of Legends cinematic. We're Still Here, and or I'm Still Here, something along those lines. And then, what I generally like to do after watching such cinematics is going into the YouTube reactions section and seeing who does reactions and who has an interesting take on those. So, the ones that I generally click on are those that have in their headline things like cinematographer or music composer, reacting to League of Legends, We're Still Here type thing. Because they have, it's interesting how they have kind of an outsider's perspective, but they still, despite the fact that they have no idea about the game or the characters, like, because of their background, they get so much context out of what they see and hear in the cinematic that they're almost on par with a lot of people that follow the lore. And then in contrast with that, it's so funny. Well, it's frustrating for me because I'm so in it, but at the same time, I can acknowledge the fact that there is a comedy to the idea that there are individuals out there who publish videos that react to this cinematic that are like that are, you know, I'm top 100, or I'm top 1, you know, I'm top 500, or I'm top 10 in the competitive scene, and they watch it and they're just so two-dimensional about the entire thing. You know, it's like, I don't recognize this character unless they use like an identifying two techniques, or I refuse to acknowledge the one of the big sort of tropes of this recent cinematic that came out was just the refusal to accept that one of their most iconic characters, though I disagree that he should be the iconic character, is old, and in context of the cinematic, dying. But it's just so funny to hear people like start the cinematic and be like, oh, where are we right now? And then see this person and then start trying to come up with different, you know, ideas. Oh, is this Jax? Oh, is this Yi? And then when they finally come to all of the identifying markers of, oh, this is that character, then, you know, they have that moment of, oh, it's that character, but then the minutes after, or the seconds after that is identified, it's just every single attempt to be like, no, it can't be this person, it has to be this other person. How is it this person? It has to be this other idea. Just because he's old. Like, why can't... Which is insane to me, because the cinematic, it establishes a past idea. Like, everyone that I've seen watch this cinematic, they almost all of them, except for maybe like two, identify the second act, even though it's technically the first act. So let's say there's... So anyways, they have kind of an opening, a prequel act, just to kind of introduce you to a scene. And then they cut to the first act, which is a situation where there are two aspects of justice. Kale and Morgana have to kind of deal with something. And every single reaction has identified that scene as being in the past. Except for, again, like I say, maybe two reactors. Every one of them. Oh, this must be in the past because Morgana isn't this way, or Kale isn't this way. And Demacia isn't made out of marble yet. So it's so weird to me that they're able to so easily establish that, and then in Act 2, just one transition later, it's so hard to grasp that their most favorite, their most played character is somehow in the future old and on their deathbed. It's just weird to me. I don't know. If you care at all about any of that stuff, comment down below. But that's my just off the top of my head sort of take as I mess around in the storm like this. I really need to get back into the whole animation and 3D modeling portion of my day-to-day basis, because that lets me not sort of think about these types of things so much. I normally don't like to have opinions like this because it's really kind of not, it doesn't have any basis in anything, you know? Like all of these guys are allowed to have their perspectives because they have different backgrounds. They may have absorbed League of Legends from a different timeline, from a different, like my first exposure to League of Legends was before Vladimir was a character. And I even want to be as pretentious as saying that before Anivia was a character, but that's... I don't think so, because I think Anivia was one of the originals, right? But Vladimir was definitely not a character when I was playing. And Tryndamere was like one of the originals, and it's amazing how many of the reactors didn't even know who Tryndamere was. So that's kind of crazy. But that's why I like seeing those filmmakers, those music composers, because I can accept the fact that they don't know who these characters are, you know. But still, it's satisfying to watch, and it amazes me to see those content creators still kind of connect the dots and be like, oh, this person is this way, or oh, look at this relationship, or ooh, did you see that interesting that interesting transitionary effect that they did that gives foreshadowing to this other thing. Like, those insights are always really cool. But then when you see all those people that are like, oh, you know, I'm diamond 3 or whatever, and they can't even identify a character unless they use a specific move because they're in either an outdated outfit or they're not in their traditional outfit. You know, it's like, come on, you play the game, you absorb yourself in it so much that one could almost argue that it's your personality. Like, you don't do any outside research into like why you like this character. You only like this character because of their stats, or you only like their character because you win more with them. Like, that's kind of, I don't know, that's kind of two-dimensional for me. I know that's really kind of abrasive for my types of videos, but I don't know. That's just kind of those are just the thoughts that are kind of running through my head right now. So, in any case, this has been a distraction. Huzzah!